Welcome all to the online adventure known as Close Contact for Couples with PD. My name is Judith Sachs, and I'm a certified dance for Parkinson's teacher in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I developed this program about 3 years ago when I saw that the couples who were dancing in my classes were having a lot of difficulty moving together as partners. And I thought, why not teach people who really don't learn partnering techniques from dance? Why don't I teach them what we can do together? So that's what this is all about. We're going to meet Mose and Duff, who took the class with me last year when we could be together as a group in a classroom learning these techniques. I've asked them to become a living teaching tool for all of you in the course. Following my directions, they will offer a timeline of learning to collaborate on movement skills together. They will start slowly. They may decide to take a different route than the one I suggest, but they will try to discuss every physical action they take together. It's important to note that although Mose has PD and Duff does not, for the purposes of this class, it doesn't matter who is what we call the patient and who is what we call the care partner. Each of them will assist the other in learning different types of touch, weightedness, friction, and use of space on different parts of the body in order to do daily tasks such as breathing together, leaning and shifting weight, learning how heavy or light body parts may be, cueing with breath, with words, and with actions, finding the center of gravity between you, kneeling and crawling, tandem walking, getting out of a chair, getting in and out of a car, getting out of bed and bed rolling, getting to the floor and up again, walking on uneven surfaces alone and together, using the bathtub and shower, initiating movement, or breaking a freeze. They will decide together, as you will, when, how, and how much assistance is needed. They will do the talking out loud as they do the various exercises, and they will maintain eye contact as much as possible. The more points of contact between you, the better. And now let's meet Mose and Duff.
Hi, I'm Deborah Mosley Duffy. I'm Mose.
And I'm John Mosley Duffy. How you doing?
Great. All right. So everyone get ready. We're going to start with the big muscles and joints of the body and then work our way to smaller ones, both the top of the body and the bottom of the body. And I want to just remind you and remind everybody that we're going to really use the breath. So we'll remember to inhale and exhale, and I'll give you some cues along the way. So starting with the shoulders, great big circles with the shoulders. And inhale as you're going up. Exhale as they come down. Beautiful. And another one over here. Then we'll change direction. Go the other way. Inhale up the back. Exhale down the front. Inhale. Exhale. This time, take your arms all the way up and stretch into one arm and then the other. Really stretch out of the ribs. And keep breathing. Now take one hand down to the side of the chair and tip yourself over like you're pouring out tea from a teapot. Now on the floor. See the puddle of tea and come up underneath your arm. Good. Lift up, other side. Reach and pour. A little further, look at the the chair. Let the back touch the air. Good. Do it again. A little bit further. Lifting up. And exhale, coming forward. Pushing away from the center. Come back. Put your arms on two big cushions of air. And squeeze them towards your legs. Then let your arms lift and twist you around to one side. Arms go down and up. Back to center. And then to the other side. Let them down and up. Back to center. And slowly exhale down. Take the back rung of your chair and lift the other arm high in the air and try and get yourself to touch the floor. Reaching up and down at the same time. And then pull yourself to center. Change sides. Good. And each side may feel a little different. Pulling up. Make a big X with your arms. Cross over. And pry the arms apart. Other side. Good. And then sit up, hold on to the chair, and take one leg out in front of you. And put it down. Rock forward, rock back, take the leg up. Push it away, straighten out the knee. And come down, rock forward. First leg, again, now. Flex and point the foot. Little ankle curls. Good. Put it down and a little rocking. And then once again, other side. Push away. Pointed flex, pointed flex. Little ankle circles. Come back down. Take the arms back. And up. And down. Beautiful. Thank you. Okay. Our first exercise for close contact involves the points of contact as we touch each other. So, Mose and Duff, I'd like you to sit across from each other with your feet flat on the floor. So we're going to see your profiles. And maybe, yes, if you can angle the chairs a little bit. And you probably want to you'll be close enough so that you could hold hands or put your forearms together. So you may want to be even a little bit closer than that. Good. Okay. So what we're going to do now is just practice really lightly. We're going to touch, first of all, just the fingers. So touching each other's fingers. Good. And then touching the backs of your hands. Yep. And now your palms. So you're going to have the whole hand and the fingers touching. Now how about wrists? Can you touch each other's wrists? Good. And then the forearms. And the shoulders. Nice. The tops of your heads. The cheek to the side of the neck. So one of you may have to move position to do this. Good. Great. How about the hand to the back of the neck? And then the other hand. And now, while your knees are already touching, how about touching your feet? One set of feet, then the other set of feet. Can you touch ankles? Good. And how about the other set of ankles? Okay. So now take your hands away from one another and just see what it feels, and your legs away from one another. See what it feels like not to be touching. So what's the experience? Can you talk to each other about that?
It's nice to touch.
That's something most people don't normally do, so it's unique in a way. And
It's fun.
yeah.
Okay, good. So now what we're going to do is experiment with watching each other breathe. So I'd like you to sit just the way you are, knee to knee, and you're going to be cueing your partner. So by cueing, I mean giving a signal. And that cueing is going to be very, very important throughout these 6 weeks. What we're going to do is give each other verbal cues, like I would like you to do this, or that's too much of that, or not enough of this. I definitely want you to be cueing each other with your eyes, and sometimes just with the lift or the let go of your body. You're going to be giving each other some signals, okay? So sometimes you can give a really big cue, like lifting and lowering your hand. So let's just try that. For inhale, you're going to let your hand go up. And for exhale, turn it over, let your hand go down. Like elevator goes up, elevator goes down. Or you could bring your chests forward toward one another for the inhale. And like you're drawing breath from one another, pulling away all the way. Great. Okay. So what I'd like you to do, and you can talk about it if you want, is one of you is going to be the leader and the other is going to be the follower. And you are going to be cueing your partner as to when they should take a new breath. So start by figuring out who's doing this first.
I'm the leader.
Good. All right. So without further ado, start to lead him in this breathing. And you can slow down or speed up, whatever you want to do. And Duff, you're just going to follow her. Okay. Now let's switch. And Duff, when you're doing this, let's not use hands. Let's just use something that's a little more subtle. Maybe it's the position of your body and you want her to follow along doing it. Maybe it's just your eyes.
All right.
Great. So you're using your head to do the cueing. Wonderful. And now arm and head. Lovely.
Okay.
Okay, great. All right, so now I'd like you to pause the breath at the top and do something else with your body that your partner's going to mirror. So you're going to take an inhale and don't hold your breath, just pause it, and then maybe open your fingers and close them. That's just a suggestion.
Okay.
And then we exhale.
And then you can exhale, yes.
You go first.
So maybe the pause has a clap in it. Try that. Great. All right, and maybe now it has something even that will take a little bit more time than just a clap. Great, now switch leaders. And now I'd like you to try it after you finish your exhale. Now I'd like you to try it with your eyes closed and just touching each other's hands. So Don't necessarily pull the hands up for an inhale and down for an exhale. I want you to feel the other person's breath just by some subtle way that you touch one another. Okay, so I'm sort of seeing the hands going up on the inhale and down on the exhale. Is that what you're doing?
And opening them a little too.
Touching them.
And opening a little.
Okay, great.
We'll try not going up and down.
Okay. All right, now try it like we're prying each other apart. So maybe it has to be a much bigger gesture to make that inhale happen. Good. And if you want to, make some noise with the breath. Great. Now switch partners. So the other person's going to do something a little bit different. Good. Nice. Okay. So now I'd like us to play with the idea of weight. So, Duff, why don't you just put your forearms out? And Mose, I want you to hold on to his forearms. Like you're too, well, all right, you've done it the opposite way. No, not a problem.
That's okay, we can do it.
So somebody put their arms out like they're two platters. And the other person's going to deposit stuff on top of the platters. Yes, exactly. All right. Now, arms weigh a certain amount, right? So I want Mose to decide, do your arms weigh as much as a half gallon of milk? Make them that heavy. All right, Duff, take your arms away. Great. That's what I wanted to see, because if they're that heavy and there's nothing supporting them, they will drop. All right, now your arms weigh each a 28-ounce can of tomatoes. And try again. Take your hands away at the bottom. Okay, what was different about that feeling, Mose?
It was slower the second time. It wasn't as violent.
Yes, right. Because it was lighter.
Lighter, yes.
Right. So it probably wouldn't float down, but it would be lighter. All right, let's get even lighter. How about 2 14-ounce cans of beans? Go. I don't know about that. So nothing that weighs anything is going to sit in the middle of the air. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think what we're looking for when things are lighter and they fall to the ground, and everyone's going to be trying this eventually, that's your homework for next week, is to drop things all over the house. So if something's lighter, it's going to fall, right? It may not fall with the same stickiness, right? So let's pretend that your arms weigh as much as oranges. Each arm is an orange. What happens when he takes his forearms away? They probably fall faster, right? And then they roll away. Yeah, yes, good. All right. So that is something that I think is going to be very important, is to figure out what things weigh what And how much weight do you want to give your partner when we're doing something like getting out of a chair, getting out of a bed or a car? So we're going to practice that over the course of time. So what we're going to do now is we're going to discuss and feel what weightedness is all about. So we don't really think about how much a body part weighs until we have to move it or somebody else has to move it for us. But we can compare it to other things, right? So if we think about an arm, depending on whether you're giving your partner all your weight or just a little bit of your weight, maybe we could compare it to regular household things. Like, do you have a half gallon of something or other? 2 half gallons for 2 arms? So that you can each feel, right, great. All right, so you see how heavy that is. Maybe put it in the palms of your hands just to see what that would be like. Great. Okay, now you have something like a middle weight, like a can of beans or peas or soup.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. All right, so what's the difference, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you want to take one in one hand and one in the other, a heavy one and a light one, and exchange. Good. All right, so now you see the difference. Like I want to hand you my can of peas arm, or I want to hand you my half gallon of orange juice arm. All right, and then maybe you want very light arms, hardly any assistance at all. So you have a couple of pieces of fruit.
We just happen to have them here.
I'm so glad you did. That's great. All right, so you see what that weighs, right? And so if one of you is to help the other one, some days you may need a whole half gallon of help, and other days maybe just a 14-ounce can, and maybe other days just a tiny little assist. So I would like you to play with that with your arms. So you can put down the household items, and let's have Mose just hold on to Duff's arms. So hold both of them. And now I want you to think about those half gallons. So your arms are heavy, you really need a lot of help. And if he lets go of you, what happens to your arms? Yes, exactly. All right. Now, put them back. Now, what happens if there's just 2 14-ounce cans and he lets go? So I think what happens, and I don't want you throwing cans around, I think what happens is it happens faster because it's very light. So first of all, the amount of weight that you're giving him is lighter, right? You don't have to weigh like a meat hook, like a piece of meat on a hook, right? You could be lighter. So that's my intention with this, is to figure out how much weight do you need to give your partner and how much can you assume by yourself. So let's just think of the apples. All right? So all you need from him today is 2 apples worth of help. Maybe you don't even need your whole forearm on his forearm, right? So if he wants to lift that, so let's see what happens if he juggles the arms that are now the weight of apples. Okay, and now you need a little bit more help. Now he's juggling the arms that weigh as much as the cans. So go ahead and do that. You're helping him. Do you feel a difference? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, there's definitely more weight, and because of that, there's more push that's needed. That's basically it. Yeah.
It's hard for me to create that, but I understand the concept.
Okay. All right. Well, let's say your arms are just so heavy today. It's really, really hard for you to lift anything. So maybe your whole body
is coming toward him because you need that much help. It's even heavier than the half gallon, right? And so if he lifts you, what does that feel like? Yes, it's pretty weighty.
Yeah, and there's more
Right.
shoulders involved and everything.
So your homework during the week is just to pretend you're very heavy, you're very light, and you're somewhere in between, and then hand that off to one another. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So let's switch this up a little bit. I would like Mose to stand up behind Duff. And Duff, you're going to just turn your chair so that we can all see from the front what's going on. Okay. Again, if you would just angle slightly so that we don't cover her up completely. Yeah. All right, so you're going to get behind his shoulders. So I think actually, I'm sorry, you need to angle the chair a little bit more. Yeah. Uh-huh. No, the other way. So that you're more on a, yes, so we can really see her and see you. Beautiful. All right. So there are different ways that you're going to touch his shoulders. And I'm going to take you through them first, and then you can experiment, and he's going to tell you how it feels. So we have different areas of the body. Right now, I'm going to just talk about the warmth of his body right outside his clothing. So we're going to call that the energy piece of him, right? Because he's human and alive, he's warm. So if you just put your hand maybe half an inch from the top of his shoulders, you should feel, depending on the temperature of your room, you should feel that he's there. So even if you closed your eyes and you put your hands out like that, you'd know he was there. So Duff, how does that feel when she's not actually touching, but she's just touching the energy around you?
Well, since you told me that she was there, I sort of sensed it, but otherwise I'm not sure if I would have.
Okay, so she's going to approach you and you won't know yet. And then you tell her. But the first thing I'm going to say to you is put your feet flat on the floor.
Okay.
Good. All right. So in her own time, she's going to come and just put her hands somewhere near your shoulders and let us know when you feel that and what you feel.
I think I feel it now. Yeah. Yeah.
Great. Very sensitive. All right.
More in the neck area, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's probably more warmth coming from the inside of her palm on the inside of her fingers. Good. Great. Now she's going to, don't touch him yet. Now she's just going to touch your clothing. So it's kind of like a butterfly just landed on top of your shirt on either side. You feel that?
Oh, definitely, yes.
All right. Now, Mose, I'd like you to touch his skin through his clothing.
No, just push down.
Oh, okay.
Is that different?
Definitely, yeah.
And now I want you to touch the muscles beneath his skin. And then finally, I'd like you to contact the bones beneath his muscles. Great. And then what you're going to do is you're going to back out again. So from touching bone, go back to touching him and really touch. So you're really contacting what's inside his shoulders. And then from there, I want you to back out, go to the muscle, and go to the skin, and to the clothing, and to the energy circuit right around his body. All right? How's that feel? So now you're going to switch sides, and I'm not going to tell you what to touch. I want you to figure it out. You're going to touch some piece of her, and she's going to say what she thinks it is.
Okay.
The clothing,
Mm-hmm.
the bones,
Mm-hmm.
the muscle,
Mm-hmm.
the energy around you.
Mm-hmm.
The skin, or the clothing.
Uh-huh.
Well, you just did the skin. Is that the skin again?
That's the skin, yeah. Okay.
Great. Okay. So what I would like right now, and you can sit down so that you're facing each other. No. Okay. Is that your chair?
Sure.
I would just like you to have a conversation about what just happened, what that kind of touch and the awareness of it, how that's different from the way that people usually touch. And does it give you any other ideas about moving together?
Okay.
Well, I think normally when people touch, they don't consider the different levels of
To
touching.
each other.
Yeah, so you don't consider the different levels of touching. You just say, I'm touching this, and then you don't realize like what the other person is feeling either.
I thought it was interesting that you could feel when I wasn't even touching you, when it was just the space,
Yeah.
the warmth. I didn't realize how warm hands are. I know they're warm, but
Yeah.
and it's so typical of you know when we do. Can you hear us?
Don't worry.
Okay. When we do boxing, you'll repeat the number and kind of
Mhm.
trick me. So when you did the skin one, I was like, is that skin again? Because it felt like the other one.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked, yeah, it felt good. I don't know about the bones. Did it hurt when I touched the bones?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was concerned about that.
Yeah.
Okay. So that exercise, moving from just, touching parts of a body, right, is to really concentrate the specifics of when you are going to take somebody's hand, when you are going to hold their elbow for an assist, right? If you want to help somebody get up, knowing where you're touching and what you're touching can really be very significant. So now I just want to practice one other thing. We have opposable thumbs, right? So hold hands.
How?
Just like that. And I want you to kind of just, like a seesaw, move back and forth.
Yeah, that's
So you may have to separate your chairs a little bit
Yeah.
so that you have a little more. Great. Okay. How did you know which way to start?
We didn't.
We didn't. No idea.
But you did.
But we did, yeah.
He started and you followed. Is that a typical pattern?
I thought we did it simultaneously, actually.
I think John would disagree. I think John would think he follows all the time.
All right. So I can't see or feel what you're doing, but I want to know if you are gripping hands. How did you give her the cue to move?
I guess we just,
He pulled back, so I went forward.
yeah.
Took his body back. Right. Great. So now I want you to do something that a habit that we're going to break. I want you to grab his wrists. Yeah? So something that happens, especially if we think somebody's falling, is that we grab on because we've got these thumbs. So I want you to grab and pull. And then I want you to get rid of your thumbs and just take the surface of your palm underneath his wrists. And you're probably going to use the middle fingers to just draw him toward you. Uh-huh. Duff, what's the difference in feeling of those two things?
I have more freedom. I could lift my arm up much easier.
Exactly. You have more freedom. Switch it up so that she can feel the same thing.
Okay, first with the thumbs.
Do the thumbs grab. Uh-huh. And I want you to notice that as you pull, you're also pulling her elbow along with her hand.
Mm-hmm.
It feels much
Especially
more.
for somebody who might have hypersensitive joints, that could be very problematic.
It feels very risky and dangerous.
Risky and dangerous. Wow. All right. So now do it the other way. Just using the palms of your hands underneath her and guide her toward you.
Yeah, that's better.
Great. All right. So this entire sequence of close contact is called no thumbs. And during this period of time, because we're obviously not going to be sitting in chairs all the time, that's going to be very, very important that we stop grabbing. And it's a natural thing, especially, again, if you're off balance and somebody wants to put you back right again. But we're going to really try not to do it. We're really going to try and move with, look how much more surface you have, right, with the open hand, rather than this clenched fist. So, wonderful. All right. So in this next exercise, we're both going to stand up. And you can just put the chairs to one side. Okay. And what we're going to try and do, you're going to stand with Mose, put your back to his front. So just the way you were in the chairs. Exactly. And Duff, you're going to put both of your hands on her shoulders. So just the way you were on the chair. So as I said, what I really want for this program is for the person with Parkinson's to try and feel like they have agency. They're the leader. So without watching, I want Mose to begin walking forward, and Duff is just going to follow because we don't have a whole lot of space. Okay, and then what you're going to do is turn, but I want you to turn really slowly. So don't give him any cues, and he wants to really feel which side of your body is moving first. Go ahead. Okay, stop. All right. So it was kind of halting, right? Did you know where she was going?
Did you know if I was
That way. No, not well. No, not really. No.
Did you notice?
So in order to walk in tandem, we have to know which side of the body we want to go to. So why don't you both face the camera? And still one behind the other.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea is we're just turn a little bit. Both of you turn toward the cat. Yeah. Okay. So we can still see Duff's feet. So what I want you to do, keeping your feet maybe 5 or 6 inches apart, is to begin to shift weight side to side. So usually before we start walking, we have to kind of wind up. We have to go, yes, exactly. And it's by shifting weight that he's going to know which leg is light enough to lift and start walking forward. So whenever you want to, you can start walking. Ah, much better. Much better. How did that, okay, stop. Just, oh, very fancy backing up. We're going to do the same thing backing up, but so just talk to each other a little bit about what was different about that than your first attempt when I didn't tell you to shift weight.
Well, the shifting weight indicates which leg is going to go first. And so if you're shifting on the left leg, then the right leg's going to go first. And we both were balanced at the same time, so we're able to move forward then.
I thought the last time I was being quite obvious because I was going.
So you become together like a metronome.
There was a rhythm.
Right?
Yeah.
And that, just the way when we were warming up to the music, I was saying, let's use momentum. Let's have rocking back and forth. You can do rocking side to side. But what it does is cue your partner as to the direction that you're going in and how much weight. Is it a half a gallon of milk over here so that the other side is really light? Or is it just an orange? Because you don't want him going so far to that side that he can't catch up with you when you lift your foot to start walking. All right? So let's try this again and switch places. Mm-hmm. Good. Nice. Excellent. So you really feel you know where he's going. Ah, backing up. Very fancy. Okay. Now, can you go side to side like a crab walk, like step and bring your feet together? So you're going to have to go to one side of your sideboard, both of you together. Go all the way to the side.
Oh, going this way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, oh, I see. No, you're not. One of you is still in front of the other.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So Duff is going to start with his right foot going to the right. Oh, no, he's not. He's going to start with his left foot going to the left.
Okay.
No,
It looks like I was
Okay. So,
your right foot going to the, yes. Good. Right. Correct. And then the other one will slide to meet it. Not two big steps. Her legs aren't as long as yours.
okay.
Great. But first shift weight. Don't move before you shift the weight.
Okay. Start over.
She's a little behind you. So slow down and just shift the weight and then move the other foot. Good. Slide together and shift and slide. Shift and slide. Much better. Other way. Ah, she didn't know when you were going back. Go back to the corner and change direction. Yes, and go. Good. Terrific.
Back, right?
Okay. So now I'd like you to actually give some verbal cues. All right? So you're going to decide if you're going front, if you're going back, or if you're going side. All right? So she's going to give you the cues, holding on to your shoulders. So you can say start back on your left foot or go to your right. Give him the instruction and have him shift weight first and then follow him. Nice. Because now you know where he's going before he does. Excellent. What was that? Okay, switch.
All right. Okay.
Does this remind you of anything?
Qigong?
No. So if you were facing each other, let's try it that way.
You'd be dancing.
It would be dancing, exactly. So facing each other. Now, if you would just, again, turn sideways to the camera so we can see what you're both doing. Rather than in dance position, hold each other's shoulders. And now one of you is going to give the instructions as to whether you're going, and whoever was, so I guess Duff is now giving verbal instructions,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Tell her which way she's going. Is she, if you're going forward, she's going back.
Right. Okay. So
And you have to say which foot, but you also have to shift your weight.
left to the right, right to the right. Right again to the right. You're right back. Left back. Oops.
That's left.
Right back. Left back.
Can we put our feet together?
No. Left back. Right back. Left forward. Is that your left forward?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Left forward. Left to the side. Right to the side.
Nice.
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Okay, now don't give the instructions. So Mose, you're going to be the leader. Don't give any verbal instructions and don't look at your feet. So the idea is just look into each other's eyes. And now that your hands are lightly without thumbs on each other's shoulders, you can give him a little bit of direction. Remember that you have to change weight before you pick the foot up and go anywhere. Great. Nice. Beautiful. Okay. Okay, let's move on. Now we're going to do a little exercise of rhythm and cueing each other to the beat of some music. So I see that you have these two tennis balls. Each of you has one. And you're going to sit facing toward one another. But I think this angle is fine, right? So this music is going to have a beat that's something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So your cue to change balls back and forth to one another is the 1 in the measure. So without any music, let's just say I'm going to count it for you. And I'm going to give you 4 for nothing. And 1, 2, 3. Wait a minute. 4 for nothing means don't do anything until the next one. 5, 6, 7, 8. All right? And then we'll come in on 1. And on the 1, it should be hitting your mark, like deliver and take.
Okay.
One of you's delivering and one of you's taking. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, 4 for nothing. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Up. We'll start again. On the act, so you're going to have to be ready. And that's the whole deal with this. We're not going to spend our life exchanging balls with one another, but if you want to assist somebody into a car or out of a bed, you're going to have to know, both of you at the same time, when the cue is coming. And you're going to have to talk about it. Right now I'm doing the talking, but after a while you're going to do the talking. You're going to have to talk about it and then make that exchange so that you're both participating at the same moment. Okay? So hitting the target means I'm both of you now. Okay?
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I were you, I wouldn't let my hands go down on the 2, 3, 4. I'd stay ready because that 1 is going to come very soon. Got it? All right. Again, without music, go. Don't go. I'm giving you 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. So here's what's happening.
Switch it to your other hand.
If I were perched on top of you, I would see this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Do you get it? So that this exchange is happening between your right hands and your left hands exactly at the same time. I know that's hard. I really do. Yeah, just practice for a minute without a beat. So you're wasting precious space. I'm watching as you kind of palm the ball together, Duff, right? And your feet are crossed, and that's why you can't do this. Thank you. Do you remember? I always used to tell you about that. All right. So in order to save precious time between the first one and the next one, don't move anything else other than this ball. Then just freeze. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Better. And 1, 2, 3. Let's turn on some music because it's going to get harder. Okay. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 3, 4. 1. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Let me stop a second. One of the problems of Zoom is the lag time of audio. And so it is definitely possible that you are not hearing the one when I'm playing the one on the music. So I'm going to continue giving the claps because I don't think that is useful. What I want you to figure out is how little you can move after you've finished handing off the ball. So it's, first of all, here's my suggestion, Duff. Don't sit with your back against the chair. Be alert. It's like somebody is going to ring that doorbell and you will have to be up and answering it immediately. Okay? You're doing great. This is a very unusual and difficult thing because I'm kind of asking you not just to cue each other, but to be doing an action and receiving an action from someone else. It's sort of like inhale and exhale at the same time. So I'm going to give you 4 for nothing and we'll do it again. And we're going to do it a little slower since we're not going to use the music. So here's the beat. First, just listen. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. And next time go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Excellent. Okay. So now let's add an even harder piece. All right. One of you take both balls. Good. You're starting. On the 1, you're going to deliver a ball to him and hand yourself the other ball. On the 2. Right? So on the 1, you give to him. On the 2, you give it to yourself. You give
the left hand ball to the right palm. So it becomes a circuit.
So I would move mine.
So let's just try it. So you have to hand off to her and then hand off to yourself. Yes. Hand off to yourself. Change hands. Change hands. Change hands. All right, let's try it with rhythm.
Okay.
And I want you to get to the point where you see a hand going and you feel like that's my hand, even though it's his. I'm going to count again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3, 4. So would you like to talk about that?
Well, we cheated because we did it on every one. One,
Yeah,
two,
I saw
three,
you were
four.
cheating.
Yeah, we did, instead of 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, we just kept it moving, and we probably shouldn't have. Yeah,
So
but-
this takes a kind of cooperation and collaboration that you probably don't have to do when you decide to make dinner or what movie to watch, but it goes to the nature of how do you participate with one another. And so as we end this first segment, I just want you to not only this week lift different weights of things and see how they relate to your body, but I'd also like you to figure out between the two of you, how do you typically collaborate on anything? It doesn't have to be movement. And we'll talk about that in our next session. So that concludes week 1 of Close Contact for Couples with PD. This week, as you can see, we looked at cueing, whether it has to do with the breath, with eye contact, with touch, and we looked at weightedness to see what it is in the body that weighs a certain amount, so that when we're moving or we're helping a partner move, we're aware of how much we're giving and how much we're receiving. So next week, we're going to move on to different ways of shifting weight to get in and out of a chair. And we'll do it from the front, from the side, and we'll also try a circular movement. And again, it's not going to matter which person has PD. We're all going to be doing it together.